Hi guys, my name is Mukesh and welcome to Code Tunnel. In this video, we are going to talk about control statements, data type, loops, the basic building blocks of any complicated application and ये क्या होता है and how we can write it, and we'll write some basic code around it and try to understand the data types and loops which will help you write something or do certain operations again and again. Loops basically means looping. You continue it for kind of iterations, for a number of iterations. Okay, so we are going to do all that in today's video and understand the basics of it. So let's get started. Before that, you could subscribe to our channel if you want to get the latest update and want to learn Python from basics. Okay, let's start our VS Code first. Okay, so Studio Code, which is our ID. We have installed it. If you haven't, then you should install it and set up. The link will be there up. You can click on the icon, I button, and then you can download and do the setup. Or you can run the Anaconda spider setup also, which I have done in that video. So you can basically start a new folder or you can continue in the existing folders. Let's do in a new folder. First of all, we'll go somewhere and just create a new folder. Called lesson 2. This is the second video, so let's and then select it and open it. Will ask you, do you trust the author? Click yes, and now you can see your lesson 2 folder is open on it and try to do it yourself. Okay, so I'll lesson python py extension, and now your file is made. The extension or the format for this file will be .py, so that our VS Code can recognize this file and run it in proper way. We have actually created our setup and we'll write our code in this one. First, today we'll learn conditionals. Conditionals or flow statements. So what we are going to do, like in programming, we always have certain scenarios. Basically, imagine two-person or you have two users and you want to know which user is younger or which user is older. And you want the computer to do certain operations based on their age. Okay, so how those things work in Python? Let's try to understand. Okay, so first of all, you need to have value of the age somewhere. For that, you need to create a variables which will store the value of the user. So let's create one variable user one user one age equal to 20. Okay, next user two underscore age equal to 45. These are our two users, and you want to log something. Want to log based on, like, if the age of user one is greater than, then you want to log congratulations, or you want to do something like that. So let's do something. How those things you'll do? If there is this is a reserve keyword, so you cannot declare. What do you mean by reserve keywords? Reserve keywords are the keywords which you cannot use as variable names. For example, this is a user, this is your variable names. Okay, if you cannot, if equal to 20, you cannot do like that, because if is a reserved keyword, you can declare variables, functions, classes with these names. If user 1 age is greater than user 2, what you can do, remember, you have to press the tab key, disable tab 9, because an extension which will help you to complete your code. Let me disable it because it's serving for beginner is not recommended. Okay, so here you have your code. Okay, Here you have your code. Okay, user one is greater than user two. If user one is greater than user two, then you want to print something like congrats, user one, you're older. Okay, else. Remember, this is going to be else. Else, what are you going to do? Else you're going to do? Yes, print parallax next time. Parallax next. What do you expect this is going to happen? Also remember the syntax, the way we are writing it. Here you have to write your condition, then followed by a colon, and the next line is we have a tab at the beginning, which is telling computer that this particular print statement falls under this if statement. Okay, you have to use tabs to tell computer which particular line falls under which statement or which block. And this is again if and else are at the same level because they don't have spaces in the in the front. And these two statements, now else has another underlying statement within its block, which is print better next time. And it also has a tab. Tab is basically you have to press the tab key on your, and it's made up of four spaces, basically four spaces, or you just press the tab key. Okay, this is our code. Now, before that, you have to save your code. Oh, and by you can save it by controlling S because you can see here you have a white dot over here, which is telling that the code is not saved. You can control S and it will turn into an X cross button, which will tell the computer that it's actually saved. Now, if you run V, it will run the code. What do you think? What's going to be the expected output? Obviously the age 20, which is 20 in number and 45, and it's not going to be true. Okay, it is not going to be true. This if not going to run because it will evaluate out to be false. This condition is false, so it will go in the if else statement. So if we run, what will happen? If we run, it's saying better luck next time because this statement is false, and so it will come to the else statement and then it will print line. Also you can do something like you else if statements. So what did else if? Okay, else if statements are just like the middle part between the if and else. So what we can do, you can run multiple lines with else if. So if user 1 is greater than user 2, congrats user 1. Else if okay, let's write something like user 1 is less than user 2. Okay, this colon will tell that this condition ends, and now you have something like here, and this particular line will have print that's user 2, that's user 2. You can see again we have a tab in the middle which is telling that this print statement falls under else if. Okay, not the if statement. And this if line, else if or elif or else are at the same level because they do not have spaces in the middle. You can see that they do not have spaces in the middle. They are all in aligned in the same line, so they are at the same level. Whereas the print statements are at different levels because you can see they have a tab in the middle. The tab tells that this particular statement falls under this particular else if. This particular line number 6, see, line number 7 starts with a tab which basically tells that this particular piece of code falls under line number 6 is the if statement. Okay, this is how you maintain the structure of the code in Python. Okay, What's going to the expected output? Let's run it. Let's save it first. Control S and then run with the. You can run it from here, the right side. Click on the run and going to congrats user 2. Yes, it's the expected output because 45 is greater. Yes, 45. So first it comes to this line, it gets false. So it comes to this line and it gets a false and it gets a true and it prints this line. Comes inside and prints this line. If let's do something like 20. So now what is going to the expector? You have to tell it comment down and if I run, what's going to happen? User one is not be greater than user two. Whether user because they are equal in their age. So what will happen? This particular thing will run because this condition is also false. User one is not greater than user two. Users one's age is not less than user age because they are equal. So it will come finally. This will become false, this particular line 8 will become false, and finally it will come to this else statement, which is the last statement remaining, and it will run this line, print better luck next time. Okay, congrats if you had answered correctly. Write one more piece of code and it will be else if. What happens if their ages are equal? You can do something age equal double equal. Remember, it's not equal. Equal is assignment operator and this is used for comparing, so you have to write double. So this equal is different from double equal. Double equal will basically help you check conditions. If two statements, two functions, two variables or whatever are equal or not. Okay. So we are comparing, not assigning. So this is assigning the value to the variables. For that purpose, you use single equal sign, and here we use double equal sign, which will represents represents comparison, not assignment. Comparison and assignment are two different things. Okay, and here in this case, users each are equal. What's going to happen? What do you think? It will come here. This statement will be false. This statement will be false because not 20 is not less than 20. This statement will become true because 20 is equal to 20 and it will run this particular line and it will not go to the else statement either. So if I run it, you clear the terminal. You can clear your terminal by doing pressing clear clear command and it will run. So you see users age well, and clear clear will clear your terminal. You can run it again, save and run it. User's age is equal. So this is how you write conditionals in Python. Okay, let's move to other things like data types in Python. You can comment it by control backslash. Okay, you can comment all your code if you like. This helps you comment like this particular code will not run. I don't like clutter the screen, so I'll just clear all the things. Now let's come to the data types. Okay, what do you mean by data types? Python. So data types in Python are basically there are many data types. Okay, in this video we are going to understand a few basics. First one is number. Okay, number. You must have seen it. If you can assign numbers like this, integers basically. Integers. Okay. Um, salary 1,000. Okay. Uh, these are numbers. Okay, integers. What do you call integers? Second data type that you have in Python are dots. Dots. Dot values. Dots are basically decimal numbers. Okay, so imagine your um, age is 10.5 years. 18.5 years. So this is lot. Lot data type will have decimals, okay? It will have decimal values. You can hold decimal values. Of course, we are declaring everything. We are declaring every variables in same format. We just need to we are not assigning the types, but it somehow see if you hover, it somehow knows that this type is float. Okay, if you have mm, salary 20, you hover over it, you can see it's a literal. Okay, over this, it gets to know that this is a float number. Okay, it's integer, a float. Again, what you can do is another data types called strings, which are you can use single quotes and double quotes. It's basically statements, a combination of characters. Okay, so like any piece of character comes under which is under string, you can call it it's a string. Okay, which under a double quote or single quote. So you we generally store sentences or names, text, descriptions, titles, kind of this kind of things in strings. Okay, so this is a string data type. This is a string. This is a string. This is a integer. This is a float. We also have other data types like list. Okay, so let's list. As the name suggests, it will have a number of things in it. Here we are storing only one particular thing, but we can have something like my list. My list equal to it. The list starts with an like all the items in the list will be in this square bracket. Okay, let's start like my list of what you call favorite numbers maybe. Okay, 5, 10, 20, all separated by a comma. All separated by a comma. It can. This is a list. Okay, it has a number of things in it. There's a number of things in it. Okay, we also have a sets, tuples, dictionaries. These are basic things that you need to know as of now for any for our further course. So we will see all other data types remaining in and also last things is booleans. Okay, let's call it condition. You can store true or false in it. Okay, you can store true or false in it. This is also a data type. True and false is a data type of boolean type. Okay, if you hover over it, you can see there is literal, but actually it's a boolean data type. Okay, you can see it's a boolean data. Booleans can have only two values, true and false. So you can either store true in it or you can store false in it. Okay, so these are the basic data types in Python. First is integers, float, string, lists, and booleans. You can, by the way, print all of those. Print everything one by one. See if we print those. Print salary. Uh, Print my name. My list. Print my print function has the functionality to print every kind of object, data type, whatever. So it will have the capacity. Now let's clear the terminal. Run your program after saving it. You can see it prints first this salary, name, list, boolean, and everything else in the middle. So these are the data types which we'll be using in our Python programs. Okay, mostly, and the remaining One last thing, coming to the last thing, our loops. Why do we use loops? Imagine you want to print all the numbers between 1 to 100 or 1 to 10, or you want to run something like those kind of which needs iteration. For that purposes, you use loops. Okay, there are a number of loops like while loop, for loop, and Python. But in this video, we are going to see the most basic one, the for loop. For loop, what it does, how it runs. So you have to write for, and you want to state how we state how many times a particular function need to run. We have something called I. Just see range. Okay, let's give it 10. What it does, I in range tail give for loop. This particular statement is for to run for 10 times. Okay, with each time the value of I will be increased by 1. Okay, it will increase by 1. So if I print I one by one, everything in computer starts with 0. Every time, the first time the value of I will be 0, second time it will be 1, third time it will be 2, and so on. At last it will be 9, and where this particular code will stop. Let's run it and see what happens. Let's clear the terminal first. Control. Okay. Terminal. Let's run it. You can see it prints 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and till here. Okay. This is our for loop. Okay. You want to do for example, you want to add or multiply. You want to generate the table for, we call multiplication table of maybe two's multiplication table. So you can do something like this. 2. What happens? 0 in the first iteration where the value of I is 1 or 0, will multiply it with 2. Second iteration where the value of I will be, it will print 1 plus 1 will become 2, and 2 to the 4. You will run this. You can see first time it's 2, then 4, then 6, then 8, then 20. We don't know how it's working. Let me be very clear. Let me try to explain you how this is happening. You put every time that particular statement under for loop, every time the particular statement, the print statement runs, okay, it runs for how many times? Runs for 10 times. Runs for 10 times. For every time it runs, the value of I increases by 1. What will happen? First time the value of I will be 0. Value of I will be 0. Second time it will be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. This is the ninth time. Okay. Runs for 9 times. Sorry, 10 times from 0 to 9. 0 to. So what will happen if I add I plus 1? We have done here. We have done I plus 1. It will become 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. If I multiply it with 2, what will happen? What you are going to get? Going to get 2, 4, 8, and 3, 12, 14, 18, and 20. That's how you get here, okay? That's how you get this to a particular thing. I hope it's clear to you all, guys, okay? And this is what we are going to all use in our programs. How you